All right. So my name is Samuel Cole. I am the coach of Salon FC. I'm also the president of Sierra Leone Youth Association. This right here is our Freetown Ball 60-side tournament, and I want to say thank you and big appreciation to the Liberian Radio and Television Network for being here at a short notice, coming down and showing love to the community. Thank you.
Hi, all. My name is Toba Jalaport, and I want to give a shout out to LRTN, Liberian Radio Television Network, for all the great work they do in the community.
Hey everyone, this is Bishop Elmos Ehega. Wow, meet me on the hard zone. I am going to bring you balanced, objective, serious conversation, serious analysis to the conversation. Listen, even though I'm a bishop, but I understand the dynamics of human relationship and the politics. I invite you, join the high zone, and I promise you, you will get information, you will get analysis that will transform your understanding of the situation. Join us in the high zone. God bless you.
Welcome, my panelists, Bloji, Choppy, Charlie. You have on the screen public intellectual. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you very much.
And the next panelist we have is Mr. Dean E. Wilson. Welcome, Mr. Wilson.
Pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you.
And by way of introduction, I'm Derek Yale. For those of you that do not know me, this secondary education in Liberia, and after that I went to Legacy Institute of Professional Journalism, and I served as vice president for that institution. I also served as president for my high school as well, and I came over here, continued my education, got a degree in civil engineering technology, and I'm still in school right now for construction engineering, and I also work in that field. So that as far as my okay, thank you so much. And Ambassador Terry S. Genesis just joined us. Welcome, Mr. Genesis.
So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Terry S. Genesis. And let me say this though, it is a pleasure to have all of you here and to sit on this platform for us to have an interchange of thoughts and for us to just give our positions on different issues in the political space in Liberia. Let me just throw a question out there to each and every one of you, starting with Ambassador Terry. I can't see your last name. But starting with Ambassador Terry S. Genesis, I'm sorry. Let me just throw this general question out there before I introduce the topics for the night. Why are you involved with Liberia politics?
Thank you very much. You know, first of all, politics is interest. It's a human interest, and it has to do with the day-to-day activity of man existentially. Liberian politics is also very much important as country around the world to kind of enlighten, you know, our people, especially a society that is considered gullible, a society that is considered, you know, illiterate, somehow semi-illiterate. And for me, I did the science. I did political science, you know, in the university. So it's just a matter of trying to enlighten our people and to also call on the government to do those things that it promised the people, you know, are going to do. So basically, it's about enlightenment, and it's about also, you know, making the people aware and also engaging the government constructively, you know, to serve the people right. That's it for me.
All right, I'll go on to Choppy Charlie. The question to you is, why are you involved with Liberia politics?
Well, I think for me, what happened in Liberia where we experienced one of the most violent and brutal war in 1990, and the negative consequences that most of us suffer, the pain and anguish, compelled me at some point to be involved in the political process, because whether one like it or not, political decisions affect your life. So I don't like to be a politician. I've never aspired to be a politician or running for public office. But I realized that even if you don't run for public office, you must participate in how decisions are made in a country, because that decision is going to affect your life either negatively or positively. And so it became very critical and necessary for some of us to get involved in the political process to shape the direction of the country in a way that can improve living conditions, create social equality, and a great opportunity for everybody in the society in a way that there can be peace and harmony.
Thank you very much, Splode. And we'll move on to Mr. Wilson. Why are you involved with politics in Liberia? But before we do that, permits me to introduce Bobby Michelle Crawford. Thank you for joining us. We went over the introduction, so when we're through with, when Mr. Wilson gave us his response to the questions, so we'll come back to you. But please, before answering the questions, kindly introduce yourself. So, Mr. Wilson, you have our attention.
Yes, the question is a very painful one. I wouldn't want, I mean, we're having a formative forum. If over my short lifespan, where I was one of those who divided the leaflets in the street for the demonstrations that led to the arrest riots at the university, I experienced that early that morning, the trumpeting of the national anthem. I mean, I remember the late Charles Boyan, Kwame Clement, and I think I've gone 1 minute, but we go way back with our experiences. It's been a painful one. Remember the overthrow of the Student Unification Party after so many years by the independent candidate Kwame Clement and late Charles Boyan. Abdullah Tunis was the running mate. So my whole life has been impacted one way or the other. I will concur with Choppy. You know, politics affects every daily living, the plight of yourself, your people, your surrounding, your environment, your country. And it's just no way out of it. So my experiences have afforded from activism on to change of government, political party. I remember in 2002, I was one of the founding persons with the George Weah, voted against Ellen, voted for George in 2005. So, as I said, it's been a painful experience for me. So I'm not avoiding the question, but almost all of life has been displaced in politics. It's something that affects how you get up, how you go to bed. It affects how much money you send to Liberia. It almost affects your daily living.
I understand. Bobby, please introduce yourself and respond to the question on the floor. Why are you personally involved with Liberia politics?
Thank you for indulging me. Before I answer the question, I would like to register my profound gratitude to LRTN for this beautiful platform. You know, whatever we do here today, we shouldn't take it lightly. I think it contributes to the vibrancy of our nation, despite our different political orientations. I think whatever we're doing here today is something good. I see my big brother, Mr. Wilson, Charlie Chappie, my boy, Terry Genesee. Every time I comment on your podcast, he doesn't reply. But man, what's up with that, man? But anyway, I'm happy to be here. Back to the question, right? Why am I involved in Liberian politics? Man, by nature, we are a political being. I think St. Paul, he said in his anthropological analysis of man, that we as a human being, we are a political being. So that's to begin with that first. So whatever I do is part of my DNA, it's part of what my creator make me to be. And to see what's happening in Liberia, you can't help but to get involved. You want to right the wrong. You want to see that your country, win itself all of that issue of poverty, corruption, and all of those negative vices that undermine development. So this is why I'm involved in politics.
Before we move on to the next round, where we will first take a commercial break, and then after the commercial break, I will introduce the topics for discussions tonight. But before I do that, let me say something about a topic that I developed first. The topic is Liberia first. Liberia first in whatever we do. All of us here have had different experiences. We are from different political ideologies. We are from different tribal groups. We have had different experiences in life. We have a different group and school of thought. But there's one thing that's very common between all of us, and this is a fact. We all love Liberia so dearly, and we want that country to do good. Matter of fact, we want that country to do so well that not only can we have bragging rights on the continent of Africa, but also in the world. And the reason I feel the need to bring that up is because as we engage in these political discussions, I would like to strongly suggest that all of our positions, our opinions, what we believe should be around the beliefs and the desire for Liberia to always be first. Regardless of what we believe, regardless of what we think, whatever ideology we subscribe to, we must do the country justice to always put Liberia interests first. Because remember, without Liberia, there will be no unity party. Without Liberia, there will be no CDC, no ANC, and you name it. So whatever you do, whatever I do, Liberia should always be first. Thank you, and we will take a very short break, and when we come back, I will introduce the topics for the night.
Hello, my name is Christian Dunbar. I am the former city treasurer for the city of Philadelphia and a Liberian. I want to give a big shout out to LRTN for all the work that they're doing in the community. Really wonderful work. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Cole Dolo. I am the principal organizer of the Philadelphia Liberia Bicentennial celebrations and also the organizer of the Liberian flag raising program in the city of Philadelphia. I want to give a huge shout out to Liberia Radio and Television Network. Thank you all for coming out and supporting us. Thank you for supporting all of our events, Liberia Radio Television Network. Thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Hello, my good people. My name is Bobby Michelle Crawford, man. Your boy right here. When I'm in the high zone, you should expect facts, concrete analysis that covers social, economic, and political issues that affect our community. That's your boy, man. I'm the lawmaker of the city of Bentoy.
Okay. Welcome back. Let me welcome all of you back to the Hard Zone. My name is Derek. So, of course, we will talk about Nathaniel McGill video. Nathaniel McGill, speaking of Nathaniel McGill, video, he provided clarity, and he said he was speaking in context. We're going to discuss that later. He said he was speaking in context, and also he was justifying corruption apparently from the opposition community, and also Reverend Reeves, the president of the Council of Churches in Liberia, he says poverty hijack pro-poor agenda. So also, I'd like you guys to give your thought on that. But first, let's go on to the video.
Because Ali and I see that carrying in Europe. Some point in the country, all government are in eligible interest, and that's the money. But we tell no money, the school will go to our people there, go pay for the school invest. I can't pay her in one country to invest. So I'm going to tell you money I carry to Ghana, correct? But one country get it on me, I will take it from you and carry it. Then I'll leave it here. Yes. The day God take me, I will carry her with me. Our grandchildren will kind of see the ones there, but what kind of looking for? They go book power there. So these are the things we'll be doing. So I just want to say thank you to for doing what he's doing. What is the young man doing? He's just doing a part. One day will not be represented.
Oh, thank you so much. I think you guys have seen the video, of course. So, this video has make rounds on social media. People have given their interpretation of the video. So I'd like to bring it to the panelists. So each and every one of you can give me a take on the video. Let me start with Mr. Wilson. What do you make of the video?
Well, I will answer directly and I will bring another issue to combine with the video. When a McGill government comes to the U.S. and coming to donate $300,000 or promise that we have people who are not fed, children are in school. I mean, thousands of students graduating the university, they don't have a job, can't travel. For the first time, and I hope the panel can agree with me, I don't think ULA has been even more compromised. The comment I have to make to that video, and I will land on, is that please let us not even dignify this. I mean, the audacity to think that you can justify even if I were to even make a comment of such that will lead to misinterpretation. I think it's not only unbecoming, but this is extended not only with what happens daily in Liberia, but it was right in our face the last visit McGill had here. So I would prefer not to dignify such comment or video or whatever.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, let's move on to Bobby. Bobby, what is your interpretation on Nathaniel McGill video?
You know, when you are a public official, messaging is paramount, because whatever you say or whatever you do, the opposition will editorialize it, characterize it to fit their narrative. And it is unfortunate that he misspoke. But it's no secret. You know, George Weah government is a three-man government, you know, for lack of a better term. You have McGill, Weah, and of course, Samuel Tuet, the finance minister who expounded philosophical platitude other than putting austerity measures. So it is unfortunate, but he thought he was speaking to an audience that could relate to him. I don't know what is the justification for him to say, if I build a house that making Bon County beautiful, that's a private resident. You know, my brother in Bon County is not going to say, well, this is how the house my give deal for Bon County, I'm going to live in it. So that's just a fully justification. So, I mean, there's an affront to the Liberian people to go out there to try to, you know, to say, even though we corrupt, but look what we're doing. We're building beautiful homes for ourselves. We're not doing it abroad, but we're doing it here. And, you know, that just goes to say that this government, you know, they're just insensitive to the plight of the Liberian people, and it's unfortunate.
Okay, you said, if I heard you right, you said maybe Nathaniel McGill misspoke. My question to you is: do you think?
No, let me correct that. I was being generous. Because he was speaking to an audience that he felt, you know, honest to, because it is the general consensus. I mean, I have talked to voters, right? They say, yeah, it's alien government king the store. What about all the people that build their houses or bought houses in Europe, especially people that sympathize with the CDC government? They say a lot of people stealing, but at least they're doing it here. So
do you think, Bobby, that Nathaniel McGill admitted to stealing from the Liberian people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In that tape, he admitted to stealing from the Liberian, and it's no secret. So whatever he echo out there, he just reinforced the narrative that, he's one of the few people in the government that is stealing from the Liberian people. So let me take that misspoke. He actually spoke what was on his mind, but he was just echoing the general sentiment expressed by people that sympathize with the CDC. And you believe it or not, there's a good segment of the population that say, yeah, and Ellen King and stole too. At least the other people here, they're stealing, but they're building the country. It is a sad reality, but a good segment of the population think that way.
All right. I would like for us to discuss the video in three different ways. The interpretation, the context of which Mr. McGill provided clarity. He said he was speaking the context, and the accuracy. And I'll go back to you, Bobby. I'll give you 30 seconds on this. Nowhere in the video did Nathaniel McGill say that he stole or he's stolen from the government. He said, even if. That is a conditional statement. So if you said that absolutely he admitted to stealing from the Liberian people, how can you defend that?
Well, let me take it back. This is a man just before the ascendancy of the CDC government, and this is public knowledge. The man living in, I don't know, some part of Point 4, he couldn't afford rent. I know people that are close to me. I don't want to make this character assassination here, but people that help him out. Fast forward a few years now, he building houses. You seen what he did with his mother's grave. He gave his mom a pauper burial. That's okay. People who have, the love a child, a son has for his mother, it surpasses anything. I understand that. But if you look at all of the properties and all of the wealth he has acquired overnight, doesn't commensurate with his salary as presidential minister, whatever it is. He is the most powerful.
I'll take that from you for now, and we'll move on to Bloje Choppy Charlie. Bloje, react to Mr. Nathaniel McGill video, but before you do that, take 30 seconds I'll give you 30 seconds to respond to Bobby's position on this Nathaniel McGill video.
Well, I think Bobby is doing what somebody would call prevaricate. And you asking a very pointed question about the accuracy of the statement. And it's one of the problems we have in Liberia, which goes to the original question you asked, why did we get involved in politics and we should put the country first? And there's no defense of Mr. McGill. But we have to be able to do due diligence to commentaries when people make them. The absolute facts of the statement itself does not demonstrate the argument that Bobby is making. And so in our context, we have to say Bobby is not making a valid argument.
Okay, react to Mr. McGill video.
So my reaction to the video leads me to go beyond the video itself and ask a question. Why would Mr. McGill even be bold enough to even make such a statement? And because we are looking at the effects of McGill's statement, but there are deeper cleavages in Liberia that will provoke a public official like in McGill's situation to make such a statement. And so if we go beyond the video, I'm trying to go beyond the video, because the video is not, the video is a symptom of the bad case in Liberia. I cannot speak to the video on its own. I cannot speak to the video on its own, because to do that would be a disservice to the deeper question we're trying to answer. Because the video is not situated on its own. The video is a response. It's a reaction to something else. McGill was not just speaking, he was speaking to a reaction. McGill has been accused by people in the opposition, and only in Liberia, where especially for the Unity Party, who has governed this country for 12 years and has made corruption legalized corruption in Liberia. So you have people who have legalized corruption in the country making accusation against Mr. McGill. So because McGill is responding to those people, so the video cannot be discussed on its own. is a response to criticism from people who have took the country, people who have looked at the country, people who have brought the country into the situation we find ourselves. So to just analyze the video in our content will be a disservice.
Lodge, I like the point you're making. The video is a response to something else. Now let me ask you, in your interpretation, what is Natala McGill admitting to in that video?
But there's no admission. I have to be defensive. Like I said, I don't want to be a spokesman here for Mr. McGill. Mr. McGill did not admit corruption. Mr. McGill is doing, how do you call it? He's saying, he's responding to the folks and saying, look, you accuse me of corruption. No, I'm not corrupt. But assuming Mr. McGill is giving it a benefit, he said, I'm not corrupt. But even if you want to accuse me of corruption, look at the difference we are doing in Liberia. So that's what I'm saying. That kind of argument, right, what McGill is saying should not even be a commentary for any leader in the country. No leader should make such a statement to even say, because you stole, you went somewhere, and so I'm stealing, so I have to do it.
You're saying the leader is stealing, he shouldn't talk about it, or he shouldn't steal?
No, I'm saying no leader should even steal. There's no justification for any leader stealing.
But you said statement. The first you open, you said that's a bold statement for.
Yeah, but listen. Yeah, but give me a break. I'm saying that what prompting McGill to even make such a bold, I'm saying the McGill response cannot be just on its own. Okay, number one, no leader should even justify corruption. But McGill's statement is a response to other people who are criminals.
Before I move on to the next person, let me ask you this final question, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody accused me of stealing compared to them stealing, my response to them would not be even if I stole.
No, but
allow me to finish. I'm just trying to go along the line of reasoning you're breaking up. My response would not be even if I stole, especially if I haven't stolen anything. Now, Mr. McGill, he said, even if we steal money, we use it in the country. The truth about that video is he did not admit to stealing. He also did not admit to that stealing.
Okay, fine.
That is the truth about the video. But before I move on to the next person, though, let me ask you a very direct question. Do you think that Natala McGill is corrupt?
Well, I'm trying to get away from this situation. Yeah, we can make assumptions based on behavior, but it has to be born in facts. And so from if I'm the opposition, right, to McGill, obviously I'll characterize him as corrupt. I mean, giving lifestyle, people call it lifestyle quality.
Capacity upload choppy Charlie. Do you think?
But for me, no. I'm gonna. You see, again, I go back to the original question. One of the reasons why some all got involved in this process is to get away from the usual Liberian thought process. The usual way that we analyze things, and we always operate on presumption, assumption, absent facts, where people has been characterizing often. So I'm trying to stay away from that characterization.
Charlie, Claude, you're not answering the question I asked you. So I can't
answer the question because I don't have facts.
We're doing justice to Mr. Ambassador Terry S. Genesis, so we will move on to you. Sorry for the delay, but we are here now. Can you react to Mr. McGill video? And if you can, you can also react to the responses from the other three panelists.
Well,
I will want to ask something.
Thank you, Derek.
I'll get to you, Bobby. I saw your hand.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Derek. First of all, like what we say in our introductory statement or comments, before you even brought up this particular topic, is that we need to be honest to our country. We need to also be honest to ourselves. First of all, McGill's statement, all right, if you say he was responding, all right, to probably somebody who accused him, it was kind of a very moot and rhetorical. But I think it's a very pathetic statement. McGill started, with a hypothetical, comment. Even if I take the people money, I'm spending it right in Liberia. And then he went on confirming that he's a rogue or he's a criminal. by saying, if you listen to the video very keenly, Maggie will say that we take our small money, in the sense that the word take means that we steal the government money and build houses of property right in Liberia. So he drifted from a hypothetical, comment to a more confirmation comment or confirmed comment. But one of the things that I said after I listened to the video about 3 times, if George Oppong-Weah, the president of Liberia, was incorruptible, he would have fired Maggie right there or suspend Maggie, because it really it somehow corroborated the accusation that the government is corrupt. Somebody at the highest level saying that we take the people money and build, property in Liberia, and so it's the kind of a justifying. So if Maggie can come out to say that it was contextual, it's just indefensible. It's indefensible. There is no way you can defend it. So it's just a confirmation, God is exposing what Liberian people say in our parlance, that, God beating them. These guys are admitting, it's a clear admittance of corruption and how the government is massively corrupt, and corruption is rampant in the government. It's inherent. So there is no if and but about it. You don't even need to be a rocket scientist, all right, to interpret or to say that. And Maggie was very clear. It wasn't even contextual, because he didn't even contextualize anything. He just said that we take our small money, meaning that it was in the context of stealing the government money and building properties. And we all know that what somebody historicized, that Maggie never had money. Maggie started to just get money overnight. The first thing Maggie did, which I thought George Oppong-Weah would have even reprimanded Maggie, when Maggie decided to take $260,000 from LBDR, which created a serious uproar in the country, and LBDR started going almost like bankrupt, to renovate his house that he bought. Derek, it's all about arrogance and ego, and it's absolutely wrong. And we all on this, all the various panelists, we must condemn it in the strongest possible term, because we want to put Liberia first.
I may have just shortened my answer response to your question, but let's do some hard zone. It's almost we're at a place where we don't need to have any expectations anymore of the government. I mean, Bobby said in the beginning, let's be true to ourselves. There are many instances and many things that are happening now that not only baffle us, but I would just defer to Bobby, because he talked about self-honesty. It's almost like I have no expectations anymore, in the sense that, let me just quicken to say for 1 minute, I listen to other panels and you hear about the 30,000. The legislative, I'm just giving a scenario, the legislative engagement fund. But everybody fails to say that in the very executive, I think it's up to 100 million for presidential projects. So, it's almost like people are not connecting. It's a secret count. It's almost like you're taking yours, I'll take mine. But in my gear skills, and I will end on that, if you're making a certain salary and you're not declaring your assets, but your expenses kind of overgrow, and then we're seeing evidence to it. That's why I personally didn't want to dignify the question. It's almost like we had a place in our discussion, in our own admission that I have no more expectations, in the subject matter. So I didn't mean to disabuse the question, but it's so evident, and I'll refer to Bobby, as he said, let's just be truthful to ourselves.
But do you think that Mr. McGill was wrong for what he said in that video? And do you think he admitted to corruption?
Without a doubt. All
right, thank you so much.
Very evident, is very clear.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to get your thought on that. So at this point, we'll take a very short break, and when we get back, we'll get some clarity from Blue Jay, as well as his reaction to what was just said on the show. Again, this is the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Galley. I'll see you shortly.
Hey, I'm Terry Genesis. When I'm in the Hard Zone, expect good analytical skills, good information, and facts. Tune into the Hot Zone.
Welcome back. This is the Hard Zone with the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and we're just joining the panelists. In the discussion, the flow is reactions to Mr. Nathaniel McGill video. We played a video at the beginning of the discussion, so if you're just joining us, you can follow along with the discussion. Then we officially welcome Mr. Wia and Bishop Hagar to the program. Now, we left off with Blue Jay Choppy Charlie. You needed to provide some clarity and also react to what was said before. But before I can let you, before I can give you your time, let me say you are Mr. Blue Jay Choppy Charlie is the only person here that don't think that what Mr. McGill said is wrong. And of course, I'm the host. I have no position on that whatsoever. So, Mr. Blodge, we'll give you our attention to provide clarity and react to what was said.
Let me restate my position very clear. I did say that the statement McGill made, that statement should not have been made. It should never have been made. So that's the first thing. And Mr. Genesis see that by me also saying that McGill in that statement did not admit to corruption or did not say that he was being corrupt is a contradiction. No, there's no contradiction. I'm criticizing the statement because of the miseducated environment we find ourselves in as a country. And I'm saying that the fact that people in the opposition who are desperate for power is misconstruing the statement as alluded to by our friend Bobby, that he can use that for propaganda purposes, makes the statement troublesome to be made by a public official. So that's why I'm saying that statement was wrong. But on the merits of the statement itself, I'm saying that to treat the statement independently is also doing injustice to Liberia. Because the statement comes from a deeper political question that troubles the country. And so McGill is responding to criticism from people who have been so corrupt, have looted the country, destroyed the country, and is answering them. So it is in that context that I'm saying the statement is explaining the condition of the country. McGill is not admitting the corruption.
Corruption is not blue, it's not green, it's not yellow, it's not white. It's action. It's what people do. It's what people say. So what McGill said, I don't see why people are defending that. He is in power. He has been doing everything. He came here and doing this some money as well in the United States. I know all those in cities in government will always blame the past government. It is because of the past government patronage system was the reason CDC was elected to bring a change. But instead, they have chosen to occupy the same structure and do the same thing and use the past government as an excuse. That's my position. That's my statement.
So we will move on to Bishop Hagar. Give us your reaction to Nathaniel McGill video.
I mean, let's look at that video. It was an insult to the intelligence of the Liberian people. For McGill to look at the poor people and tell them, say, you see, I'm building my personal property. And because my property is in your city or in your town, you should be happy. And he knows that no particular individual will benefit from that building. It is not the population who going to live in that building. So to tell those people, say, okay, because I came and built on your land, how I got the money, you should not even think about it. You should just celebrate me and honor me because I stole money and came to build my personal property, not government property, not property that will benefit the community at large. To tell us other people stole money and went to Europe, and I stole money because he insinuated that the money he got, even though he did not tell all his story, but to tell, he made the comparison. He compared other people taking money and going to Europe while he take money and came in bond country. So it is an indication that he's telling them, don't look at the source, just look at what I'm doing. I just want to remind my brother over there, when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was in power, the president of Equatorial Guinea decided to give Liberia $50 million. CDC went helter-skelter and said the money was not good money and the government should not take it because it was corrupt money. Why would the CDC today tell us, okay, don't investigate us, it will steal your money and we can do whatever we want to do with it, don't look at it. It is a complete, an insult to the intelligence of the Liberian people, and I believe that that statement needs to be retracted, and Mange should be ashamed of himself to make that kind of statement.
Thank you very much. That was the voice of Bishop Hagar, and the highlight of his reaction is that's an insult to the intelligence of the people of not just Bond County, though, but the people of Liberia. At this junction, we would like to say thanks to all of you for your input on that topic. The next topic we will be discussing, which is the central theme for the next discussion, is analyzing the government of Liberia and the opposition community performance over the last 5 years. Before I take your contribution to that topic, I will take a very brief break and we will be back shortly.
Hi, I am known in this community as Dr. Eric Eddy, graduate from Temple University, originally from the Ivory Coast. I am the Chief Operating Officer of the Coalition of African Communities, and I want to seize this opportunity to say thank you to the Liberian Radio Television Network for the work that they are doing, covering and promoting all of our communities, and especially the community-based organization for the work that they are doing. You know that we don't have access to a big television channel or radio channel like CNN unless there is a big thing or bad thing that happens to the African continent. So with the internet revolution today, we just want to say thank you to Anderson and his team for this wonderful work that they are doing, again, in promoting all of our events. Thank you and congratulations.
Welcome back. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, bringing to your screen the Horizon, where I have with me panelists from different political ideology, different political institutions, and we're discussing political events as they happen in Liberia as well as the diaspora. The topic we are back on tonight is analyzing the government of Liberia performance as well as that of the opposition community. So this is a very open discussion, and I would like to start with the last person I got a words from before the commercial break. So, Bishop Hagar.
Thank you very much. The government, if I'm going to be the professor to rate the government, I would give them double F. The government has done absolutely nothing. This government came, they were in opposition for 12 years. They told the Liberian people they understood the problems of the nation. They went around advocating and saying all kinds of things. When they got in place, they never knew what to do. The entire economic, the social fabric of the nation, everything in Liberia. I was there for 2 months. Liberia have turned into the most impoverished nation in Africa. Look at Monrovia. Just do a case study of Monrovia. Monrovia become the most dirtiest city in the world. That can tell you that the government have failed miserably. Every area of the social economic development of Liberia have never improved. Yes, they may have gotten few road built, but let me tell you, the unemployment in Liberia is at the highest level. Coupled with the institution of government, there is no rule of law. So many people have been killed. There is no investigation by the police. Liberians are not even safe in their own country. Let me tell you, when it comes to the government, that government has not attracted any direct investment. Because the international community do have information on the incompetency of everybody over there and the corruption. Why would they put their money in some kind of a hole that will not get anything good? That government is incompetent. That government is corrupt. The government have done nothing. I say so because the result for the International Monetary Fund, from the Bretton Woods, from the World Bank, they gave their assessment of the government, not me. The government has failed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. You have used your 2 minutes. And just to what you said, I would like to ask you a question on what you just said. A highlight of your statement, you said the government has failed miserably. But you also said that although the government built some a few roads, so is that assessment of the government fair, especially the way you grade the government? And even the reports you made reference to, there were some positives about the government of Liberia. Do you think that's a fair assessment of the government of Liberia?
Let me even add, the roads that they are constructing were roads that were already financed. The money was already available. They have no option. They just have to do it. It was project. Let's look at the road, the clapping here about the rail road. It was something that was already done. The road that led all the way to the Guinea border. These roads were already financed by the World Bank and other international community. They have no choice. Okay. What direct investment they ever brought to that country? Tell me one.
I got your point. Even the positives you're giving them, I give you a chance to respond. You're taking it away from them. So you stand with the edge.
Yeah, take it away from them. They were compelled to do it. It's not their own program.
Okay. Your point is well taken. Let's move on to Ambassador Terry S. Genesee.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Well, to be honest with you, if you evaluate the government, if you x-ray this government, I mean, what my big brother said is very clear that yes, indeed, this government has failed dismally. There are areas, that we can, just identify. One, human rights abuses is very common in Liberia. We talk about secret killings, ritualistic killings, and not being investigated. The country is completely, complete insecurity in the country. No respect for the rule of law. Corruption is rampant. Even the FDI, the foreign direct investment, that Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf scored 80% because you have a lot of big concessionaires in the country. You don't see it under the George Weah government. The government is just like, take for instance, even coming when the CDC government assumed power, they did not even come with a blueprint. They didn't even come with a national plan. All right. After some time, they decided to copycat, a plan that Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, provided, and try to tweak it in such a way, say, they have a plan for prosperity and development. And under that particular plan, the CDC enunciated, they said that every month they will have at least employed 20,000 Liberians, because their goal after 4 years is to raise 1 million Liberians from poverty to prosperity. But today, even for 1 or 2 persons to be employed under the George Weah government, it's not easy. So the government, the expectation of the Liberian people, the way the people were very, very excited about the George Weah government, that because they saw themselves in this guy and who already provided the goods for them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Genesis. I apologize to interrupt you. But again, let me ask you a question, man. If you had to say one good thing about the government, one good thing that the government doing,
the one good thing I can say about this government is that the government tried to promote the young people. Especially those who sacrificed in the CDC government. The CDC party. When we came, he tried to give them jobs for them to be exposed. That's the only good thing about the CDC.
You say he tried, though? Did he actually do it?
I mean, when I say he tried, meaning that it's not very holistic. Only those people he favored, like Jefferson Koji and other young guys.
So wait, so
to be exposed.
That's the only good thing you gotta say about
That's the only good thing I see about it.
How about if somebody argue? What about if someone argues that the countries we're not in any war? Is that something possible to say for?
First of all, they inherited it because during the early administration, peace and tranquility, existed from the early administration. So they only inherited what Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, worked for. So it's not something like the country was in chaos and we came and he tried to bring peace in the country. No, it's just a transition.
Okay, Mr. Jensen, so you are saying the only good thing you can get to the government is that not are they promoting young people, but they are trying. So technically, you're not saying they're doing it.
Yes, technically,
you also said you also said that this government and they inherited the peace that they are maintaining today. Yeah. So you can give them that also.
No.
I got your point. So now let's get some balance. Let's go to Floje. Floje, give us your assessment of this government performance, please.
To do an assessment and evaluation of the government, we have to do that assessment against something to measure whether the government has performed or has not performed. Because again, like I said, these things are not neutral. They are not independent. You have to make comparison. And I'm listening a lot of time, especially when I listen to folks from the United Party, they say, oh, CDC always referring to the past, blaming United Party. But at the same time, when the CDC say we build road, the very United Party say, no, CDC, don't talk about the road. Ellen Johnson said he started it. Ellen Johnson said he brought investor. Ellen Johnson said he created peace. Should we look to the past or should we not look to the past? So we see a very tension with their own argument. Don't look to the past, CDC, but we United Party should look to the past. Contradiction, hypocrisy, dishonesty. The reality is, the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, we will concede pass over a bad economy to Liberia, a suffering nation, a deplorable country, which pose a major challenge in terms of governance and economic development. When people critique the government and say that you're not bringing concession, you're not bringing investment, which other investment was going to bring Liberia? Which other investment Ellen Johnson Sirleaf brought in Liberia? All the investment in Liberia were already existing before the war. Lamco were there, Mita Steel, that investment that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf bringing to Liberia. All these gold and diamond companies. So what they knew you brought? The reality here is that you already sold the whole country out within your 12 years. Where else should CDC bring when you have sold everything? We are only managing with the remnants that is left in the country. And so managing those remnants in the face of deeper economic challenges is difficult. Given, in fact, after taking over, while trying to manage the progress, we saw a global collapse. Even in America, the pinch of the COVID-19 health pandemic, whatever a poor, undeveloped backwater country like Liberia, will miracle take place from the government? So the government has performed excellently in terms of development. The government has performed. If you look at the 5 years so far,
and what I heard from you, you saying the government. You said that the government is just managing. They want you, and they want the previous administration to turn over to you. But then again, you said the government has done amazing or astonishing when it comes to development. I will give you another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds to tell us or define what you mean when you say this government has done very well in terms of development.
Okay, so the government takes over poor economy. Now let's look at development-wise, comparing the past. Like I said, you can't do these things independent. You got to make comparison. This government has built more roads.
Wait, let me hold you there. You started the whole response saying that the opposition committed to make comparison, and you going back to comparison.
I'm saying that we have to make comparison. I'm critiquing them for saying that we should not do it.
You were just frowning at the opposition committed.
No. You don't understand. I'm saying I'm critiquing them for saying that we should not do it. I'm criticizing them to tell us that we should not make comparison, and they are making comparison. I'm saying it's offensive.
So it's okay to make comparison.
Of course, I'm saying yes. Okay. I started off by saying that you cannot grade a government in absolution. You have to make that grading with comparing something. You have to do it. That's what I started off with. And I'm saying that they're saying that we should not do it, but they are also making comparison. So I'm critiquing them. I'm not saying that we should not do comparison. Okay. So I'm saying that if you compare the government 5 years in power, and you look at the past government 5 years to 5 years, you will see that this government has done far more development than the last 5 years.
We will move on to Bobby Michelle Crawford. So Bobby Michelle, we will come to you so you can give us your contribution to the topic on the floor right now.
I don't see my nickname, the Lord Mayor of the city of Bentor. I mean, that's okay, but I'll just leave that for another day. Well, in all fairness, the Allen government in the 12 years received close to $3 billion in direct foreign investment. You had Unimil in the country for a considerable number of years. So that also contributed to the local economy. So in all fairness, CDC mistake was they mimic what UP did. In fact, their propos agenda was a borrowed page from what alien government were trying to do in 30 years to make Liberia a middle-income country. And when they assumed state power, instead of trumping down recurring expenditure, money that they used to furnish the salary of government officials, they actually increased it by 62%. That's the first mistake. I know Samuel Toy can boast of revenue has increased to 3%, but that hasn't been enough to reduce poverty, according to the World Bank. Today, don't quote Bobby Ward for it. 44%, they can say you're entitled to your opinion, you can go Google it. 44% of Liberians, that's almost half of the population, live on less than $2 a day. A vast majority of Liberians cannot afford their basic need, and that's a fact. To put in my Liberian context, the hard time Liberia was short traffic. And one of the paramount responsibility of government is to create a creation of conditions under which everybody can live and develop their potential. And unfortunately, under George Weah government, it's not happening. Take, for example, security. There have been a lot of unexplained deaths in the country. He leave it at the discretion of the police director, and so other people, they say, well, that's their job. But we know in a unitary state, especially in the African context, right, the president wields considerable power. He has time to go dedicate a waterfall to calling it a pool rather, that he said that's supposed to be the prerogative of the city mayor. But he doesn't have time to address ritualistic killing in Liberia. He said, oh, that's the police director job.
Thank you very much, Bobby. As much as I would like to ask you follow-up questions, I will have to get the input of Mr. Weah and that of Mr. Wilson. Mr. Weah, you go first.
Okay, so there's an argument between Ellen Salif government and Weah government. In my opinion, I am not a member of any of the two governments. But as a Liberian who have gone through what everybody went through in Liberia, my opinion has been very consistent about the way we govern in Liberia, specifically the first country, independent country in Africa, where anybody who gets the power thinks it is your time. We are using what I call the patronage system, where, for example, the president has the power to decide what to do with the resources of this country. So both Weah and Salif fail the Liberian people. It is not the responsibility of government to just decide what to do. Government is to create the opportunity. There is no timeline. There is no vision specified. There is no way for anybody in Liberia today to say, look, if I did this today, at the end, I'm going to get this as a reward. It is not happening. There is no vision. There is no specific time for citizens to aspire. Everybody wants to be in government, and that is not a way to go. Where are the opportunities that we as government promised the Liberian people, the youth that are in the street? The people that are creating their own group, killing people, Zoko, all the people. Every time I'm in Monrovia, you are not free to go places. So we should not give excuse to government about previous government. We are is in charge now. We should take full responsibility of what's going on. For example, at the RIA, light went up. The last time when I was coming, I went to use the VIP bathroom. No toilet tissue, nothing. Dirty. That is the international airport. So the government still hasn't put the Liberian people first, but itself.
We will. I'll take your word on that. The government hasn't put the Liberian people first. That is your contribution, and we'll move on to Mr. Wilson. What is your input to this topic?
Thank you. I was reminded that we came on a show to discuss Liberia, and I think we echoed that. But I'm taking it back that we're talking about CDC and Unity Party, and I hope we can move away from that. Now, whether or not the facts are clear, but let's talk Liberia first. I couldn't agree with the brother more. Frankly, Mr. Weir, he made it very clear. Whether or not it was the 50 million that was squandered by Ellen's son, 2 years budget, 18 million not fixing the executive mansion on the Ellen side, whether or not it was the 25 million, the 16 billion, or the killings that occurred, or the Harry Grease Clay killing, it gives credence to my focus that I'm going to speak Liberia first, as we're reminded. Honestly, this government has a larger budget of 800 million, I believe. And again, I have no expectations. I got a text this morning. Someone texted me and said, listen, what are you doing? Who are you supporting? And I will end on this note. And I thought for a minute, and then I asked my son, who is in Liberia, who works for the the U.S. embassy, and I asked him, what do you think? He said, well, I just heard that somebody said Cummins is the only one that can fix the country for economic recovery. And Dad, I think too, Gongo stands a chance to in fact, reestablish law and order and handle the judiciary where security will be put in place. So I'm not going to sit and be part of this narrative comparing this 50 million missing my Ellen's son, 16 billion, the killings and what have you. We're looking for new opportunities. I believe both episodes, both sides, the previous government, this one has failed. I have no expectations of this government. And I think there are a few, let's not measure this government. We'll end on this note. Please, let us not measure this government based on what this CDC government is doing to the disarray in the opposition. One doesn't predicate the other. It's an opportunity to have done what you should have done with more, but both have been paralyzed, as Mr. Weir said. And I think there's a lot to be done before next November when elections come in. But I'm neither going in the direction of the Unity Party or I'm not going in the direction of the CDC. Neither am I saying that I'm going for the Cummings or the Gunglo, but I just wanted to share other opportunities that are on the horizon, and I will end there.
Thank you very much. And
A point of correction.
Go ahead.
Yes, for the sake of knowledge and to be very factual, and for the sake of education of the public, all right, what my brother said about that the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf brought no concession. I just want to enumerate few concessions that Ellen Johnson negotiated and brought in the country. One, the B Mountain, Metal Steel, Golden Beryllium, Buchanan Renewable, Simon Darby.
I don't mean to cut you off. Who are you responding to?
Choppy Charlie, sorry, yeah, Choppy.
Okay, Choppy Charlie.
Yeah, Choppy, sorry, I'm sorry.
I just making sure I don't want you to be talking.
The we are government inherited over 150 million of our foreign account in New York. I'm saying this because I was part of the government and we knew how we turned over, during the transition. So all these things then it happened, so you cannot just dismiss it and say Ellen did absolutely nothing. So all these things that are calling, these things were in the country, but most of them pulled out when they saw that there were insecurity on the weird government.
Yeah, I think I said Ellen sold the country. I think I made that statement that Ellen sold the country, so there was nothing new for George Weah to do because she has sold almost everything. And most of the concessions she brought to Liberia were not necessarily very new concessions.
So you're agreeing to the fact it's just provided that Ellen did bring some concession to.
But listen. Oh yeah, I don't dispute that she didn't bring it, but listen to the point I'm making. I'm saying
you were supposed to respond to the facts he just provided because.
Yeah, I'm responding to it. I'm saying some of those that we talk about Buchanan Renewable, these are not new programs.
I did to respond if he accepts the correction that Mr. Genesis made.
Okay, I accept the correction in part. I don't accept the correction in full. I accept it in part. Part of it is correct. Part of it is not correct.
Which part of it is not correct? Just be specific.
Fine. The part it is not correct is all these concessions. Most of them were previously in Liberia before, so they are not just very new. So we're just restarting these concessions. Okay, but and again, like I said, the other part about George, we are not bringing in new concession. There was nothing new for we are not doing.
I think he's in disagreement.
No, he's saying that we have not brought anything. There's nothing there to be brought.
No, you were making
other things have been sold.
Again,
okay, let me help you out. You will like this one. You will like this.
Bobby, I will get to you. But I think Bishop Higa has something to say. Let me get to you, Bishop Higa, and then we will take Bobby next.
What I really hope if Liberia, as we all saying that we love Liberia, be as honest as possible. One of the things, there seems to be a disequilibrium between our development partners, what they do, what they say, how they appreciate, how they value our government, and how Liberians themselves all over the world, all the countries in the world, they use the same metrics to determine, evaluate the efficiency of the government. It is not only in Liberia. I would not support and say Ellen was 100%. What I'm saying, the records are there. All of our development partners, the World Bank, the IMF, ECOWAS, Bretton Woods, all the other countries, when Ellen took over leadership in Liberia was in debt to almost $6 billion. She went through the process to eliminate that debt. She brought in millions of investment into Liberia. She wasn't perfect. There was a problem. But for us to be here today, like my friend Blowjet is saying, when Ellen took over in 2005, how Monrovia, Liberia was when Ellen left power and turned over to George Weah, the economy was okay. Everything was working. She left money in the bank, over $150 million that George Weah admitted to it. So for us to come in and tell us that, oh, Ellen did not do anything, Ellen messed the country over. When George Weah, your own hero, your own messiah, when he asked how do you evaluate Ellen, what was the percentage that George Weah gave Ellen government? He never gave Ellen 80% with flying color. And you guys made me say, let's be honest, you guys were in opposition for 12 years. You say you have a solution. What is the solution today? What are we seeing today?
Now, before I take a short break, let me go to Mr. Bobby and Michelle Crawford.
Yeah,
you will be the last on this subject.
Go ahead. This is in you won't believe that this is in defense to brother Choppy Charlie, right? Here's the thing, though. That was a sweeping statement he made about Ellen sold the country. There may be some iota of truth in it, right? Let's take Firestone for example.
the lead lawyer that advocated on behalf of the Liberian government that drew up that new concession agreement during Ellington. He was the chairman of the Unity Party, and he was the lead counselor for Firestone Company. And the concession agreement, they had to go back and rearrange it and have it little rectified. There are a lot of loopholes that didn't benefit the Liberian people. And the same thing with Solar Matters too. I grew up in Yekepa. Part of that agreement was for them to renovate the loop in Buchanan. And all of these different staff quarters in Yekepa, they didn't do that. And the reason why the 54th legislature is coming back is to see how best they can rectify some of those things so that the Liberian people can benefit. So if Choppy Charlie is saying, yes, Ellen government did all of these good things, but these were some of the mistakes they made. And I'll piggyback to that agreement with that guy, that millionaire in Nigeria that had a cement factory. He wanted to open one here. But then when the We Are government came in, and you all know I'm not a fan of We Are government, but let's speak truth to power here. The We Are government came in, they look at the agreement, they said it was right for the Liberian people. It's unfortunate that we have limited the conversation to We Are and Ellen. Hey, you understand? But this is what it is, and it is unfortunate. But nobody can try to be defensive, like say, well, in 12 years and this and that. Like I said earlier, in 12 years, you had $3 billion in direct foreign investment. Your debt was wiped clean, completed clean. You had the United Nations for 12 years that contributed to the local economy. It is just unfortunate CDC came back and mimic what you did. That's just the mistake they make, and they refuse to prosecute you.
Yeah, if I can just again go back to what we were reminded, Liberia. I mean, to predispose our conversation going forward is we have elections next year. I want to hear more on this. I think we will even begin to talk about it. The 12 years of Ellen, the 5 years of Weir, the comparison. This is not an Ellen Weir conversation. There's more to be talked about, and I hope we can delve more into that.
Listen, not just said Ellen sold the government. If Ellen sold the government, which one we are president of? But anyway, we will take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll discuss part 2 of the conversation, the opposition performance. See you later.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher P. Selekpo, President of the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania. I would like to thank LRTN radio station for coverage they have been exhibiting in this Liberian community. We are so proud of them, and we are waiting for them to also do the same during our election. God bless you.
Hello, my name is Owen Johnson Tuazaman. I am a community leader. I want to say a very special thank you to LRTN for all the amazing work they continue to do within our community. Thank you all.
Welcome back. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, and you're watching The Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale. I'm your host, and I'm here with a group of panelists that are discussing issues relative to the political space in Liberia and the diaspora. And my boss wants me to announce that this program will not only discuss issues happening in Liberia, it will also include events happening in the diaspora. And that includes area outside of Liberia, obviously, So the part 2 of the topic we were discussing, analyzing the government of Liberia as well as that of the opposition community. As each and every one of you know, that the opposition is supposed to serve as like a checkpoint for the government, criticize the government where need be, and also provide or suggestions on how the government can tackle certain problems. So give us your contribution on the performance of the opposition community. How has the opposition community been doing as far as tackling the government of Liberia in some of the major issues that surrounding the livelihood of Liberia? Give us your assessment of the opposition community. Political affiliation.
Thank you very much. To be very honest, my expectation about the opposition, the way the opposition is supposed to be engaged in the government, I mean, they have not really met my expectation. The opposition, in my opinion, should be very proactive, very engaging, and to put the government's feet to the fire. The largest opposition political party in the country, which is the Unity Party, is not doing much for people to see. In fact, the preponderance of criticism on the leading opposition or political party is such that it has already like almost dampened the hope of the Liberian people. So we need to do more. And as an opposition bloc, the opposition needs to be engaging. The opposition is supposed to be proactive. The opposition is supposed to be, there for the people and try to stand up. What I expect the opposition to do is what the UL SUP, students did on the 26th of July, all right, to raise some of the vexing political issues or ills that, in the country. That's what the opposition is going to be doing.
We'll move on to Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, real quick. The opposition obviously is in disarray, and the brother couldn't have said it any better. I mean, it's been much not to say about what Yeke is doing. I mean, absence of the profanity. The brother said, previous speaker, keep its foot on the pedal. But I think we got a year. I'm thinking that this would have been happening next year. So I'm hoping by the end of this year, December time, everything would have settled down and we see a better affront to the government. But let me just say this real quick. In the absence of a very strong opposition, it gives no credence to what the government is doing. We shouldn't measure what the opposition is doing and the performance of the government. I will hasten to say this in landing that, Choppy, it's an agony and a front sometimes that when there are vexing realities, 15,000 students graduating college, no jobs, people not having electricity, and the optics of this president or this government is very demeaning, and it's not much to write home about.
Then we will go back to Bishop Hager. Give us your reaction or give us your assessment on the opposition community performance.
The oppositions, they are greedy, unpatriotic, and immature. Greedy, unpatriotic, immature. I am overwhelmingly disappointed. I mean, we look at the indicators and the data from all elections. It is not possible for one opposition candidate to win election against an incumbent. It's not possible. Because the way elections take place in Liberia, we cannot overrule the tribal ethnic factors. Cummings is educated. This is my take. Joseph Boaga is old. Cummings followed Joseph Boaga as vice president. Before the turn over, Boaga may be incapacitated. Cummings come over and the country is liberated from the corrupt CDC administration, and that nation is on the path of prosperity. But what happened? They are so immature. I can't even describe the level of immaturity. If they can't handle how they will work together, how will they lead a country of 5 million people?
We'll move on to Mr. Weir. Give us your assessment on the opposition community.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the opposition parties are not working together as opposition. They are not holding the government feet to the fire. They are not proactive. However, for most of them, they are dishonest. They can be bought over. But in the coming days, I see that one person who has a good character, who is gung-ho, is coming out to show the example of the kind of leadership that Liberia needs. Honest president who truly put Liberia first, who has been fighting for the poor, who has been pleading for people with no money. He is the only person talking about what is going on, which most of the well-known opposition should have been doing. However, it is not too late for Liberia to be liberated.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the opposition community is doing bad, except Teron Gonglo. We got your point, and I see you, Mr. Wilson. You agreeing to what Mr. Weir was saying. Just a quick question: Do you subscribe to that ideology as well?
I mean, I couldn't concur even more. And honestly,
thank you very much. I would love to ask follow-up questions, but I will, because of time, we'll move to Flo J. Flo J, what is your assessment? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me prefix my assessment, and I hope I can do it within the time frame. I want the argument that the CDC copied the Unity Party agenda. No. When CDC was established in 2005, we had a agenda for prosperity. In 2011, agenda for prosperity. When Samuel Twell went to work at the finance ministry, that's when he took the CDC idea and transformed it into the government program called Agenda for Transformation. The records are there. The second point is $150 million has been argued as reserve that Ellen government left. $150 is peanuts. The government annual budget was at the time $600 million, and you talking about leaving $500 million, and you say it's now a broke country. To the question, the opposition currently has a unity party disease. Because of unity party, the opposition is dysfunctional, they are incoherent, and they are incapable of governing or winning elections. The evidence is no more clearer than at the Liberian legislature. At the legislature, the opposition is in a majority. The lawmaker at the Senate, overwhelmingly opposition, and they have been passing all of these laws. We were talking about death in the country, have not been investigated. The opposition in the legislature majority has the power to call for hearings to investigate these things. They passed budget to support schools, hospitals, all these things. They have failed miserably. And that is why they cannot win elections, because of a unity party disease they suffer from. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will move on to Bobby Crawford for your contribution to that topic. What is your assessment of the opposition community performance?
Real quickly, right? When we speak of the opposition, I want to pivot to the CPP that was certified on August 14, 2020. By the National Election Commission, in keeping with the in consonant with the Article 79 of the 1986 Constitution. That was the best arrangement, and that was conceived all of the consensus that one political party cannot win election in Liberia. But unfortunately, because of the way our political arrangement is, people have an infinity for political dinosaur, people have an infinity for maintaining the status quo. It collapsed. It was during the chairmanship of Mr. Adesanya Benedict Cummings that the CPP enjoyed one of our best moments as an opposition. We saw the election of Darius Dillon that we participated in. Mr. Cummings donated $8,000 of his own money. We get Dillon to pick up to run election. We saw the election of scores of representatives for the opposition party. The fact that the commotion came about when Mr. Cummings refused to go as second to Ambassador Boakai.
Thank you.
That's where the problem came from. And Mr. Cummings is trying to resurrect the opposition, and this is where we are. So, I mean, it's a long battle, but all of the infighting that is coming from the opposition have taken us off message.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crawford. Thank you. We got your point. Analyzing the government of Liberia performance and that of the opposition community. The final question on that topic would be, what is the way forward for the Liberian people? Because some of you said the government of Liberia has failed miserably. And if I'm quoting one of you right, one of you said that the opposition got a unity party disease. The question that remains here is, what is the way forward? Let's start with Flo J. What is the way forward for us? 15
well, seconds. The way forward, I think, from the perspective of the government, in fact, because they are in power now, I would recommend what I call a pivot back to those ideas, those lofty ideas that this government ran on, and it was giving the authority to manage the state. They have to go back to those lofty ideas, those principles, and try to be more outreach to other Liberians and bringing more people to respond to the social problems, the economic problems in the country.
Thank you very much, Lodge. And let's move on to Mr. Wilson.
Well, the way forward is very simple. You cannot win a George Weah in Liberia. I hope the opposition recovers. The way forward is to strangulate this government, exposing it to its inequities, and I think that has to come from the diaspora, which has happened. You saw Soup, as the brother said. You see Yeket, and we want to see more activism against this government, exposing its evils. And if the government would stand on this record and win, so be it. But the opposition I think will deliver at some point.
Thank you very much. Mr. Weah, what is the way forward?
The way forward is to run the country in line with Article 1 of the Constitution, which clearly states that the purpose of the government is to serve for the security and satisfaction of the people, not itself.
Thank you very much. Thank you for staying within the 15 seconds. Bishop Heka, what is the way forward?
In Liberia, I've been in the state for a little over 10 years now. The laws that we have in Liberia almost replicate what we have in America. But what makes America different is the institutional enforcement. I was president for the Liberians in the Ivory Coast for 7 years. And if you go to Ivory Coast, they have a group they call the Grand Travaux. They are technocrats. They have nothing to do with who is president, but they implement the vision for the nation. You go to Abidjan right now, they can tell you how Abidjan will be in 50 years. What I'm saying with that institutions that will work effectively. We have nothing to do with, look, man, the politicians have failed us. We need institutions. We don't have to rely on politicians. We need technocrats in that place.
Institution that will work for the people and technocrats. That is your answer. Thank you very much. And let's move on to Ambassador Terry S. Genesis. What is the way forward?
Well, in a nutshell, the way forward is for the opposition to form a common front to vote George Weah out of power. I mean, George Weah has decimated our society. We don't need no more president to be, desecrating the presidency, playing music, making music, doing all kinds of, unorthodox things. So the only thing we need to do is for the Liberian people, the Liberian people are already resolved, to take Weah off, but they have to put their trust in the opposition, and we need to have a common front. And I want to believe that before
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My man, the president Bugatti dance was cool though, but the way forward, according to Terry S. Genesis, to keep the president of Liberia outcome in the election next year. Let's move on to Bobby Crawford. Last but not least, what is the way forward?
Yes, the way forward, right? It's what we're doing on this platform. What we the respected panelists are espousing here. It will contribute, like I said earlier, to the vibrancy of the nation. It will contribute to the political discourse. I mean, we have our different orientation, our different whatever political belief that is deep. We are deeply entrenched. But those that are watching us will be able to glean from our respective discourse and say, you know what, I can take away this, I can take this for myself. I think the way forward is what we're doing here today. I think it's a good thing.
Thank you very much. And let me say big thank you to each and every one of you for your contribution to this topic, and as well as all of the other topics we have discussed. And we will take a very brief break, and we'll come back. We will get to the section of this show we like to call the icebreaker sections, where we will ask you questions relative to the show, to the program. And after a brief break, we will get into that segment of the show. Thank you. Welcome back to Liberian Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and this is the Horizon, where we are having a panel discussions on issues affecting the political space in Liberia. And this is the final segment of our show. So, Kula, it has been a very intense, very critical intellectual exchange. So this is the segment where you get to relax and you get to tell us your objective, your goal for being on this panel, for being on this show, and what do you hope to teach the audience of the Horizon? So we'll start with Mr. Wilson.
10 seconds. My ambition for the Hard Zone is not a puppet-driven show. It has no interest, it has no friends, and it places Liberia first. If you're wrong, we'll tell you. If you're right, we'll praise you. If you're sleeping, we'll wake you up. So I have a lot of hope to being here.
All right, thank you. And I have to go to you next, Blojo, just because you're right next to him on the screen. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Blojo, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. And I think so far, I enjoyed the moderation by the moderator. I think it was very good. My thing about this show is that we want to have a different kind of conversation here based on facts. We should move away from the normal Liberian discourse where people just say anything they want to say without dealing in facts. It's very critical. Secondly, in attempting to see that we can deconstruct this myth that an individual is responsible to govern a country. And so we always burden the whole country on one man, particularly a president. We've killed presidents. Today another president is in jail. The condition of the country has not changed. The governing system in the country, the president alone cannot do all of this work. And so we have to remove ourselves. I agree, the president is head of the executive branch. We're critiquing, but we have to also divorce the workings of governance, good governance to other agents. Like we talk about the legislature, these people pass laws every day. They pass budget, they allocate funds for hospital, school, and all these things. And so we continue to critique one man and we leave everybody else. The system, the actual governing wheels remains the same. So even if we move George we have today, we bring Peter, the system will continue to remain and will not benefit. And so one can see a dark and gloom situation if we don't break this chain. And that's why it is dangerous for Unity Party to even come near the presidency. Very dangerous. There's a dangerous group of people, nation records. We don't need them near our Liberian presidency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's move on to Mr. Guia.
Okay, thank you very much. I think when I was the frontline reporter for the Inquirer newspaper, many people trusted me.
I work for that newspaper.
And I suffered a lot during the war. I was arrested by Taylor people, Kuruma people, Kamajo people arrested me in Freetown and said they were going to cut my hands. They were all claiming to be freedom fighters. And after the death of millions of people, the destruction of people, we in Liberia refused to learn. They are repeating the same mistake, occupying the same structure of governance that make the presidency a seeming god, that makes whoever in power a honorable by name, not by character. And I want people to listen to the same Jawinken Weir that they used to trust to go in the front line and bring this report. And when I post them and stuff, people already started commenting. So I want to bring that same attitude. I will always talk outside the box, not what people think. And I want for this audience or the panelists to also understand that I want for all to discuss the question of who really is a Liberian. What makes you a Liberian? When I spoke here as the independence celebration, that was my question. Who is a Liberian and what makes you one? So I'm glad that the platform will give us the opportunity to express ourselves.
Move on to Bishop Hagar and give us your contribution. Thank you.
Well, I come on the platform with a lot of passion, believing and trusting that the only institution in Liberia who, if we get our acts together and speak truth to power, the nation can move forward, is the church. I've been a bishop with 4 churches in Liberia right now, and knowing what we're doing, building schools and stuff, I want to address the Liberian issue with balance and with truth. The problem of Liberia is because we're not being honest. We are not being honest. People today will justify corruption when the same people were in the street coming up and accusing people today because in their favor. For me, when black is black, white is white. I will say exactly as it is. I don't need no position. If you offer me a job in Liberia, I'm not taking it. I'm certified. I don't want anything. I just want Liberia to move forward. I've come here with the desire to help Liberia to move forward. Too much ignorance in our country. People exploit our ignorance, our people ignorant. They have to change. And I believe this show going to change the ignorance of our people to make people understand that the politicians are just deceiving and the only thing about themselves and their children, and Liberia is living backward, and we have to do something. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagan. And we'll move on to Ambassador Terry S. Jenison.
I'll be very brief. My objective for this particular show is it should be based on truth-telling, fact-based issues. And then we hope, it's my expectation that this show will really be captivating and it will triumph over other platforms. My own involvement in the show is to make sure that every time I'm called on, I will be available. And I hope that this platform can also, help to enlighten the Liberian people, for them to change their minds and change their attitude. Say changing mind, changing attitude, to be able to make better decisions for themselves. And so I would like to thank you all, and I'd like to thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And last but not the least, again, Bobby Crawford. Take us home on this one.
Thank you for having me. It's been not an exercise in futility. This was a very heartwarming discussion, and I enjoy the conversation. I may have, flooded some time, but I enjoy it overall. But here's my take. It is my expectation that my being on this show, will help, shape the discussion in Liberia as it relates to how the Liberian people supposed to benefit from their country. And I'll just borrow a little phrase from our Declaration of Independence. And it is in contrast with the Liberia First mentality. Liberia is not the oxen of grasping ambition, now is it a tool of operation speculation. No desire for territorial aggrandizement brought to these shows. So let us, all of us together, whatever we do here, we should put Liberia first. If we come out on the show, we should, present facts, not embellish, not try to pivot to things that will not contribute to the advancement of our country. And it has been a great show so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was the voice of Bobby Crawford. And again, guys, let me say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for your participation. And you guys did a splendid job. My job here to moderate this show is just a reflection of you guys' contribution. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. And just to close out, Liberia first. Liberia will always be first, regardless of what ideology we subscribe to. So let's keep that in mind. And until the next episode, let me say thank you for watching the Liberia Radio and Television Network. This is the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale. See you again.